Hello and welcome everyone. We are live and reacting to the headlines that we have now. Before we get into the headlines for the day, I would again make it very clear whatever that we discuss on these live streams, that is reacting to the headlines. All of this information is already out in the public domain. So for a person who is not really aware how the flow of information is handled. Uh, so let's say, for example, there are some news websites across the world, such as Reuters, Associated Press, and there are also government bodies as well, such as Akashvani, All India Radio, and Press Information Bureau and Press Trust of India. So all the private media houses, they lift information from their articles, from their press releases, from their websites, and publish it on their own website. So this is how the flow of information usually goes in our country. And yeah, so what they do is, let's say, for example, Reuters or Associated Press, they carry a headline on their website. So our newspapers, be it Business Standard, be it The Hindu, be it Times of India or Indian Express, all of these newspapers, they lift that headline from their website, they publish it on their website or in their newspaper, and they will give an attribution that it was taken from PTI, it was taken from Reuters or Associated Press. Okay, so all of this information, all the topics that we discuss in all my live streams, they are already out in the public domain. So you do not need to worry about the authenticity and veracity of the information that I'm giving you. I'm simply just putting forward a civilizational perspective, because somewhere in this race of imposing an identity on us, that is Indians, like I've made it amply clear in many of my previous live streams and even videos, that I do not subscribe to this identity that is Indian. And yeah, so let's see. You're watching Esports and Information. My name is Harsh. Let's react to the headlines. Let's see what do we have today for us. Usually, I go to X, formerly Twitter, to find out about what exactly is going on, and uh, you know, that is how I explore further. Okay, let's see what do we have here. Hmm. Okay. Some good news for Bangladeshi people. Uh, Rajshahi Kolkata cross border train service set to resume after 77 years. Okay, so there was a train service going on between Bangladesh and Bharat, and it was stopped. I guess if it is 77 years, then it started prior to 1947 and it was stopped for some reason. We'll have to look into it. What was the reason why they stopped it? But it was stopped, and after 77 years, both the governments have come together and made this decision of starting a cross-border train service. So the stations at both the ends would be Rajshahi in Bangladesh and Kolkata in West Bengal. Okay. This announcement was made following a meeting between Mr. Modi and his counterpart, Ms. Hasina, Sheikh Hasina in New Delhi. Since the announcement, people from various professions in the North Bangladesh region believe that the new train service will not only facilitate travel, but also create a new communication link with Bharat. Okay, I'm all for all these things, all these infrastructure improvements. Obviously, they will help in some way or the other. But what about the treatment of minorities? What do they do? Okay, we have been doing this, this benevolent acts as the big brother in the South Asian subcontinent, be it to Pakistan, be it to Bangladesh, Nepal, Bhutan, and even Sri Lanka for that matter. But up until what point can this continue? We do have things that we need in return. We know how minorities in Bangladesh are being treated. So, so are we going to simply just keep doing things out of benevolence for others without expecting anything in return? I should say we should take a strong stance, as in, you know how exactly, obviously this is going to benefit a lot of people who are indulged, well, people who do cross border work, as in, who regularly come and go. But yeah, so without expecting, we have seen it, what happens during Durga Puja in Bangladesh, how are, pagans vilified, I would say, how are pagans vilified just to practice their own faith. And the people of Bangladesh, they forget, okay, their mere existence is due to the reason that it was the armed forces of Bharat that aided and helped them to carve out their own sovereign state out of a geography that culturally belongs to us. But now, if you see, like I said, you don't need to be a mathematician or a statistician to analyze the trends of population of minorities in the neighboring countries of Bharat, be it Pakistan or be it Bangladesh. How have the numbers dwindled? Okay, so, but somehow I'm not really able to understand this trend of brushing aside everything as political. Okay, so if I'm making an argument for the pagan side, I somehow am labeled as somebody who is Islamophobic, somebody who is, preaching hate. No, I'm not preaching hate. Okay, if, telling the truth, telling a fact is preaching hate to you, then I would say you change your dictionary and find a better one. Okay. Next up is, what do we have next? Yes, Tamil Nadu, the state of Tamil Nadu. There is this, there has been these disputes between Tamil Nadu and Sri Lanka, because there was some, and up to a certain degree, there still is uh, some significant Tamil population in Sri Lanka. We call them Sinhalese Tamils. So, uh, it's a long, there is a long history of conflict between Tamil Nadu and, Sri Lankans, Tamils and Sri Lankans. But fishermen of Rameshwaram are on a one-day strike demanding release of 22 fishermen who were caught by Sri Lankan Navy for trespassing into international waters. Okay, okay. So these fishermen, I guess, they are not literate enough to use these new equipment that tells them that if they are crossing a line, they are uh, going to be in an international waters, and they are, they could get arrested if they go into international waters without proper permissions. So yes, the Coast Guard or the Navy of Sri Lanka has arrested 22 fishermen, and fishermen in Rameshwaram, they are going on a one-day strike and demanding a release. Let's see. The Tamil Nadu Chief Minister and leaders of other political parties have appealed to the center to take necessary action for the release of the fishermen. All right, all right. Next up is, all right. This neat paper leak case is, connected to many areas all across our country. Initially, there were some arrests made in the state of Bihar. Now there are arrests coming up from Latur district of Maharashtra. So, like I said, unless and until a lot of people have connived together, and it's a well executed plan, and they might have missed, one part of it, and hence now that it's out in the open. Otherwise, this would have been a very well, planned and executed thing. And right before the Prevention of Unfair Means Act 2024. So it was like, this year the union government was bringing in a law, okay, a law to tighten the security over the scrutiny of public examinations. They were going to bring a law, and you know, this could have been the last exam that was that would have been exempt from this law, because the law came after it. But now I guess they have missed a few pieces. Arrests are being made from the state of Bihar. Now they have come to the state of Maharashtra. So the police has swung into action. There have been multiple statements at the minister level as well. They have assured people that the sanctity of exams will be maintained. They are going to retake the exam. They are going to retake the exam, and let's see what comes up. Because, like I said in many of my previous live streams, whenever such incidents happen, because see, exams, they involve a lot of preparation from the side of students, because they have been working all throughout the year for an exam. And if such incidents happen, they really demoralize the students. So we'll see what comes out of it in the end, who is supposed to be held responsible. I am really strictly of the opinion that unless and until somebody from the upper echelons of the NTA was involved, nobody could have pulled this off from the outside. You know, like there is a saying, there is a age old saying in history that the doors of the forts, they open from the inside, not from the outside. So I guess somebody senior from NTA must have been involved, or maybe not. I'm simply just speculating. We don't know. Next up is United Nations Women Global Data. Okay. So 113 countries have never had female heads of state or government. Okay, there is a body of United Nations. There's a body of United Nations. They have come out with a report that says, um, where is it? Yes. Globally, women's underrepresentation in decision making remains a stark reality. It said only 23% of ministerial positions are held by women, and in 141 countries, women make up less than third of cabinet ministers. Yes, this has been an issue of a worldwide debate, that is participation of women, inclusion of women in the decision making process. Um, I would really like to draw your attention towards the fact that in the countries of the West, they have had to have movements like a well organized protest kind of a movement to ask for equal rights for women. So that really gives you some insight into their psyche as to they had to fight for it. Maybe for them it was not a default setting that women deserve equal rights as men. But whereas if you come to this part of the subcontinent, when there was transfer of power in 1947 from the British to the, I would say, INC, that was Indian National Congress, when there was transfer of power, they did not think upon it as something of an issue. It was a default setting that women deserve equal rights as men. And we have had a female prime minister, that too a strong female prime minister, that is the late Indira Gandhi. She yep. And many of the Asian countries, I would say, even Sri Lanka has had a woman a leader at the center. Pakistan, Pakistan is a joke. It's not. Yeah. um, Bhutan, I'm not sure. Bangladesh currently has a woman prime minister. Many of the states in our country, in the state of Bharat, have had women chief ministers. Mamata Banerjee in West Bengal. Not that I am condoning what she is doing over there in the state of West Bengal, but yes, the penetration of womanhood, I would say, into democracy has been far higher in this part of the world compared to the West. And if you contrast that with the fact that we constantly get lectures from the countries of the West about, treatment of women, how moral and ethical. So yes, you guys had to fight for your rights, the women in the West, because the men in the West, did not have this default setting that women deserve equal treatment compared to men. But when you come to this part of the subcontinent, it was not a subject of debate. Okay, when universal franchisee was adopted, it was outrightly stated that women have the same equal right to vote as men. Whereas if you've studied international history, if you've read about the suffrage movements in the West, you know that women had to fight for their right to vote. So yeah, these things, they are deeply rooted in your psyche. And so here it says that 7 countries have no women represented in their cabinets at all. There are countries across the world, 113 countries across the world, that have never had a woman leader. Okay. Yeah. So there are countries in the Gulf region, that is West Asia, that adhere to the monotheistic tradition, that is Islam. And in there, obviously, women are not treated at par with men, according to Islam. So, yeah, they have not had any women ministers. Imagine. And we all know the treatment of women in the Islamic Emirate of Afghanistan, ruled by a militant body, that is Taliban. So we all know. Okay, let's not just sit here and pretend that there are. Uh, it's only the Asian countries that are lagging behind in encouraging women to participate politically, and be it any realm of human endeavor. Yep. So United Nations. Let's see. Next up is, this was very interesting. The Russian Foreign Ministry summons United States ambassador over missile strike in Crimea. Okay, okay. For those of you who don't know, Crimea is an island that Russia took over in the year of 2014, and since then, this Russia-Ukraine conflict has spiraled, and it has again brought the world to these two camps. Either you are supporting Ukraine, so then, if you are supporting Ukraine, you are on the side of the West, that is left liberal principles, and if you are supporting Russia, you are on the side of Russia. You are supporting nationalistic tendencies. You're supporting nationalistic sentiments and whatnot. So this idea of having a multipolar world, it still remains an idea, because uh, yeah, it's still a bipolar world. Either you support West, or either you support Russia. So that is what is happening now. In many of our previous live streams, we have covered that United States has been openly supporting Ukraine. It has been sending its most advanced technology and weapons to Ukraine to fight alleged Russian aggression. So now United States has sent a specific kind of missiles to Ukraine. Okay. And the name of those missiles are Army Tactical Missile System, ATA CMS. Okay, it's some sort of a ballistic missile launch system, and it has a very high range. Okay, it is controlled by the GPS, so it is very precise in hitting its target. All right. So if you see over here, okay, in October 2023, so I'm talking about 2023, rewind your clocks by 1 year. In the month of October 2023, a year and 8 months after the Russian invasion, the United States delivered ATCMS to Ukraine. Okay. Now Ukraine has been using this advanced technology supplied by United States on the Russian targets. Okay. So very recently there was this attack. Okay. Russia's foreign ministry has summoned the US ambassador over a missile strike in Crimea. Okay, it said that the US supplied ATCMS missiles were used in the attack and warned there would be consequences. Moscow also said the US bears equal responsibility for a strike on Crimea. Yeah, as if US is going to bear responsibility. US never bears responsibility, for its actions. We have seen this across the world. We don't need to discuss this in any further detail. Hmm, let's see. Wait. Okay. Yeah. So it is said that providing Ukrainian armed forces with advanced weapons, United States has become a party to the conflict. The Russian ministry claimed that US supplied ATCMS tactical missiles with cluster warheads that were used against the residents of Sevastopol. Sevastopol is an area that is very close to Crimea, were targeted and coordinated by American military specialists. At least 4 people were killed and over 150 were injured in the attack. All right, so yeah, that's the heart and soul of this issue. United States is supplying advanced military weapons to Ukraine. Ukraine is using those advanced military weapons on Russia. Russia is reverting back, and it is alleged that the weapons with which Russia is allegedly, replying back to those attacks by Ukraine are made and manufactured in North Korea. So a lot of things are going on at the international level. We don't exactly know, which line of narrative to follow. That is what this information campaigns do. You are flooded with a lot of information, and you don't know how to make sense of it, because each headline, let's say if there is a if Reuters says something, okay, then Interfax will say something else, Associated Press will say something else. So as a commoner, what option do you have? What do you believe? Okay, that's why I'm here to bring a civilizational perspective from the land of Bharat, of which I am a national. All right. So yeah, this is what it is. Since we are on Russia, we'll discuss also something that has been going on in Russia. Death toll rises to 20 after gunmen attack Russia's Dagestan. So if you follow MMA, if you follow UFC, you might have heard these names: Hamzat Chimaev, then Habib Nurmagomedov, and a whole lot of others. So Dagestan is a town in Dagestan is a town on Russian territory that is very famous for its wrestling professionals. Okay, it is a mountainous region that requires a level of physical and mental fortitude, and some of the finest fighters in the UFC have trained on the hills of Dagestan. Now there was a gunfight. There was a gunfight in a town of Derbent. Okay, Derbent. Derbent is a very old town. It's one of the oldest continuously inhabited towns on the face of Earth. Okay, and there are people over there have been living under like there are multiple faith systems over there, and it's more like a compilation of different belief and faith systems living together. And yep, that is what is going on. So there was a gun attack. Okay, there were people with automatic and semi-automatic weapons. They opened fire on churches and synagogues, churches of Orthodox Christians and synagogues of the Dagestani Jews. Okay, Dagestan is a Muslim majority place. Majority of the population over there adhere to the principles of Islam. Yep. So the gunmen with automatic weapons burst into an Orthodox church and a synagogue in the ancient city of Derbent on Sunday evening, setting fire to the church, killing the 66-year-old Orthodox priest. Okay. Okay. There was no immediate claim of responsibility. Russia's investigative committee said 15 policemen and 4 civilians were killed. So far, 15 policemen were killed, and there are four civilian casualties as well. Okay. Okay. So we don't know exactly. Nobody has claimed responsibility for such an attack. But I guess if the assailants were carrying automatic weapons, it was very well planned in advance. This cannot be a coincidence. amateurs don't walk around with automatic and semi-automatic weapons. If you have such a such sophisticated artillery, you definitely have planned it beforehand. So yes, at least five attackers were killed. Okay, so the Russians have managed to kill five attackers. Rest of them are missing. Okay. Now, let me give you a little bit of background about this area of Dagestan. Okay, Dagestan is it's a very sensitive area. It's a very sensitive area. And in the year of 1999, if I'm not wrong, in the year of 1999, there was this Chechen war. Okay, there was this Chechen war in Chechnya. Okay, so there was this individual called Shamil Basayev. Okay, he was a Chechen fighter, led fighters into Dagestan in a bid to aid Dagestani Wahhabist fundamentalists, triggering a major bombing campaign by Russian military ahead of the Second Chechen War. Okay, so there was this Wahhabist ideology, the fundamentalist ideology emanating from Islam, spreading across the land of Russia, and this did not go down well with the Russian authorities. So Russian military had to deal with it. They have dealt with it pretty well, but uh, yeah, there are still undercurrents over there as well. You can see that majority of the population over there have switched over to the side of Islam. So yeah, so far nobody has claimed responsibility for this, so we don't exactly know, but we don't know. Okay. Derbent, one of the oldest continuously inhabited cities on earth, is home to the ancient Jewish community and a UNESCO World Heritage Site. So clearly, if the attack was pointed, this was not a lone wolf carrying out an attack. It was well coordinated, planned, and executed effort towards specific two communities. Okay, they did not just go around wielding guns on the roads and randomly shooting people. They knew that they wanted to attack an Orthodox church and a synagogue. So it's not a coincidence. Obviously, we'll get more details as the you know hopefully they put the details out in the public domain, because usually the media is not kept in the loop about the details. All right, what is up next? We have discussed this. Train. Okay, okay. Egypt temporarily extends daily power cuts to 3 hours. Okay, okay. The North African country of Egypt. Okay, it has extended daily power cuts to 3 hours. So get this. Okay, the current leader, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi, he is the current leader of Egypt, and he won over to the election on the promise that he would increase, availability and accessibility of power for the Egyptians, and he was elected on so and so promises. But now we have we have come to this headline that now they are extending daily power cuts. Obviously, the summer seasons are at its peak over there, and the heat is unbearable, and hence there is an increase in the rise of demand for air conditioners, and air conditioners consume a lot of electricity. So I guess to keep these things in check, to prevent the country of to prevent running out of power, Egypt has come up with this idea of a daily power cut. Okay, Egypt's government has extended daily power cuts to 3 hours, 1 hour longer than usual, in response to a surge in domestic electricity consumption because of a heat wave. Yeah, so there is an increase in domestic electricity consumption, and they have increased power cuts. All right, all right. Since July last year, load shedding linked to falling gas production, rising demand, and a shortage of foreign currency has led to scheduled 2 hour daily power cuts in most areas. Okay, okay. So there are daily power cuts. That is what they are saying, and yep. Let's see how well do the Egyptians cope with this, because I guess electricity is the basic requirement. If you don't have electricity, you don't have anything. I mean, how long can you use generators to access the internet, access all the other services? You obviously need electricity, and yep, it is what it is. It's so hot. Let me just let's move further. Earlier this month, a shortage of gas supplies. So there are shortage of gas supplies. I mean, it's pretty bad in Egypt. If you are living in Egypt, you know the conditions are pretty bad. Restoring and boosting power supplies was touted as one of President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi's achievements in the years after he led the ouster of the Muslim Brotherhood's Mohammad Morsi in 2013. Officials have blamed power cuts on rising demand from a growing population of 106 million and development projects. 106 million, I guess, you know, some of our states have more population than this. All right. All the best, Egypt. Let's see how you cope up, you know, with such events. Oh my God, it's so hot. Even with the ACs, it's difficult, man. Let's see. What do we have? Okay, the Colombian government, Segunda Marquetalia armed group begin peace talks. Yeah, so there is this gang in the country of Colombia, you know. So the government of Colombia is negotiating peace with a gang, armed group. Yep. Seguenda is a dissident faction of the now demobilized Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia (FARC) rebels, whose leaders initially agreed to a 26 peace deal but returned to arms, citing unfulfilled promises 3 years later. So there was this group FARC, Revolutionary Armed Forces of Colombia. Okay, so there was a peace deal signed in the year 2016, but the government could not stand up to its promises, and they returned to their old ways, picked up arms again. But the government's now the government in Colombia over there is much more sympathetic towards their demand, and they are negotiating peace again with gangsters. Okay, can you imagine? Government of a sovereign country is negotiating peace with gangsters. Interesting. And this is the part of world that usually lectures us on hygiene, morality, ethics. Okay. So let's see. I would say for the civilians of Colombia, this is definitely a good news. Let's Because they are the ones who, in the end, have to deal with the after effects and the repercussions of such violence. Because these countries, such as Colombia, Venezuela, all those North South American countries, um, they have been reeling under this menace of gang violence. So the crime rates over there are too high. I mean, the crimes committed over there, be it kidnapping, be it gangster rivalries. So it's a good sign for civilians, I would say. And but they should make sure that the people who have, committed crimes, people who have committed crimes in cold blood, they should be held accountable. At least they should be presented before the judiciary. The judges should sit in judgment, for people who have committed crimes. So until and unless that sort of a peace is negotiated, I don't think it's going to be fruitful. Next up is Brazil. Okay. Brazil deports Hamas operative and family. Brazil has deported a Palestinian man and his family after Brazilian federal police were alerted by the United States that a Hamas operative was traveling to the South American country, Brazilian authorities said. Okay, now Brazil has recognized Palestine as a state, as a nation. Okay, so Brazil recognized Palestine in the year of 1975. Okay, where it where is it? Yeah. The Palestine Liberation Organization has had a representative in Brazil since Brazil recognized Palestine in 1975. And Lula's government allowed a Palestinian embassy to be built in Brazilian capital in 2010. So there is also a Palestinian embassy in Brazil. They've also recognized Palestine as a, you know, as a state in the year of 1975. Okay, so there was this person who was traveling from traveling to Brazil. He landed on a flight. He landed on an airport in Brazil. The United States alerted the Brazilian authorities, and after a few, after the due process of law, obviously he was presented before a judge, and judge made sure, after looking at the proofs, at least this is what the article on the Reuters website says, that the judges made sure that there was sufficient evidence to deport him. So he was sent back on a flight to Doha. Okay. Yes. Sit back on a flight to Doha. So, federal judge in Sao Paulo stopped the deportation on Saturday to request information from the police, which, when provided, led her to approve deporting Abu Mar and his family. According, yep. So it's a really complicated. Uh, it's a really complicated matter to comment upon because I don't really see a future of Palestine. If you see, if you just analyze this with an objective mind, okay, okay. Now let's forget everything else that happened before October 7. Okay, and there is a considerable, uh, you know, significant, I would say, there is a significant history behind October 7, 2023, when Hamas conducted a dastardly attack on a Nova Music Festival in the desert of Israel. So let's for a minute objectively analyze this situation. Um, so Hamas, it is a militant organization claiming to adhere to the fundamentalist ideology of Islam, and they attacked. Okay, they attacked. They killed a few people. A few is an understatement. They killed somewhere close to, I guess, 2,000 people in that music festival, and they also took somewhere close to 250 hostages. So this was the beginning of the spiraling conflict that we are seeing. It has been more than 8-9 months since the conflict started. Okay, so so there are still, I will say, close to 100 hostages with Hamas. And so if you think objectively, if the people of Palestine, um, if indeed they want peace, okay, if indeed they want coexistence, I'm stressing on the word coexistence because uh, now we are beyond that point of even considering that argument that their chant of from river to the sea is actually possible or not. It's not. Okay, Doesn't matter of whichever country on the face of the earth supports Hamas, all right, and be it any other successive organization that takes up the responsibility of Hamas in the future. Okay, you're not getting more land than what you already have. And if you keep provoking if you keep provoking the Jewish state, you will progressively and increasingly start losing territory that you already have. Okay, let's just face it. Doesn't matter if Iran supports you or any other country on the face of the earth supports you. So if you're really aiming for peace, I would say hand back the hostages, and there will be peace tomorrow. Tanks would roll out from Rafah, and yep. Next up is some good news for people in the press reporters all across the world. The WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange, okay, he has been freed after more than I guess, how many years was it? Yeah, more than 6 years, 6, 7. I don't know. So he has been in jail for like more than 1,500 days. That is what this website. Okay. So yes, he has been granted bail by a high court in Britain. He will be deported to United States, where he will plead guilty. Okay, where he would plead guilty to violate the U.S. espionage law. For those of you who don't know, United States espionage law is the law that prohibits leaking sensitive government data to the public, to the press. Okay, so he has to plead guilty. He has already served a lot of time in confinement, be it the Ecuadorian embassy, be it the a jail in the UK. Yes, okay. Assange is due to be sentenced to 62 months of time already served at a hearing on the island of Saipan at 9 a.m. Okay. So there was a post on social media platform X by the WikiLeaks. The post said, I'm quoting it word by word, I'm not making this up. This is the result of a global campaign that spanned grassroots organizers, press freedom campaigners, legislatures, and leaders from across the political spectrum, all the way to United Nations. Obviously, these are the results of efforts by a lot of people, not just one person, obviously. So yes. Now, for those of you who don't know who Julian Assange is, Julian Assange, in the year 2010, he leaked some sensitive information about United States involvement in Iraq and Afghanistan, and some sensitive documents. He leaked some sensitive data, some documents in relation to the United States military operations in Afghanistan and Iraq. And we know, if you follow international politics, you know how have the campaigns of the United States have largely been unsuccessful. If you consider that, like, United States went into Afghanistan with the stated objective of keeping the Taliban in check. Okay, so now they had to leave Afghanistan by okay, leave Afghanistan, and now it is Taliban that is in power over there. So they have not managed to fulfill the objective with which they stepped into Afghanistan. Same as with Iraq. So this fellow, Julian Assange, he leaked more than 700,000 documents. Included diplomatic cables and battlefield accounts. So yeah, the United States has been fervently making efforts to bring back Assange and try him, and now those efforts have fructified. Assange will be extradited to the United States, where indeed he will plead guilty. But he's not facing any jail time because he's already served a lot of time in a prison in United Kingdom. So, yep, that is what it is. Now, there is an interesting court case that is taking shape in United States. So there is this body that we like to call it as UNRWA, UNRWA. Okay, and UNRWA stands for. Wait a minute, where did it go? Okay, yeah. United Nations Relief Work Agency. United Nations Relief Work Agency, that is UNRWA. It works for the welfare of displaced people, children, women, adults. Okay, all those peoples in the areas of the middle areas of the Near East, according to them, West Asia for us. So they work for the welfare of people of Syria, Gaza, Palestine, and all those people. So they build up schools in the current conflict post the October 7 attacks by Israel has made it clear to the entire world. They have also posted some videos on their social media platform X that the people in UNRWA, the UNRWA headquarters, the UNRWA offices are being used to help Hamas militants. Okay, so now there is this case in a U.S. district court in Manhattan. So some of the plaintiffs have said, okay, they have filed a complaint. Some of the Israelis and the United States in New York, okay, they have filed a case in a U.S. district court in Manhattan, and they are suing UNRWA. Okay, the plaintiffs are seeking unspecified damages for what they allege was UNRWA's aiding and abetting Hamas's genocide, crimes against humanity, and torture, which they said violated international law and Federal Torture Victim Protection Act. Okay, okay. So yeah, I mean, imagine this, and an agency that is supposed to be doing helping work, supposed to be helping those people who are affected, civilians who are affected by this war that is going on, and that agency and people working in that agency are involved in actually helping the militants. So we'll find out through this court case as to what is the outcome. Let's see if the Israelis are able to if the Israelis are able to present some quantifiable and tangible evidence to support their claims. Yep, it is what it is. All right, people, we seem to have reached the end of our live stream for today. Hope you all do well. I'll see you guys in the next video. Thank you for joining. Thank you for listening. Thank you for viewing. If you like more such content, subscribe to our channel, share it with your friends, share it with your colleagues, and thank you for joining.